Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. This is Club Deck Corner. We are here to do the Old Firm debrief. I know you're all tuning in for some positive news this evening. You are not getting it. We will be as brutal as you want us to be and as brutal as I always am. Before I dip into anything, can I just reiterate what Ali said in the pod on Friday? That, as mentioned in the pod, that Scott's had to take a step back due to family reasons. He respects his privacy on that one, and he says thanks very much for all the messages received. He's been a bit overwhelmed by it. In terms of the live show, anybody that's not got a refund, get in touch with one of the boys here or myself. It is going through the ticket site as far as I'm aware, but I think everything is in place with that, and we do apologise. It will come about again. Don't worry about that one. But as always, if you like, share and subscribe as well, gets us to the next 1,000 subscribers and keeps the support that we're very, very thankful for, because it is a shining light in what is a very dark room at the moment. And talking of dark rooms, let me introduce you to my first guest, is Mr. Pearson. Ali, you've been kicked out because your dog sitting wasn't very good at the weekend. I heard it was as good as John Lundstram's performance. Ali,
I hope I'm hotspotting off my phone up here, Ryan. So I hope it kind of. I hope it's all right.
There is a delay, Ali. There is a delay. You might need to drop on and off. I'll see how you get on. Nicky, I'll come to you, mate. I know you've got internet where you live. How are you getting on?
Not too bad, mate. Obviously, disappointing weekend of football, mate, but Monday's an alright day for me, mate. My kids are at nursery all day Monday, all day Tuesday, so I get a bit of a breather on paternity leave, which is always good, mate. So I managed to refresh a wee bit today, but we'll obviously get into the nuts and bolts of another very disappointing game against that lot, mate.
Yeah, it was disappointing indeed. And looking after kids, I think it's one of the hardest things you can do. And I would take any kind of duty like that before having to watch the performance that we had to watch on Saturday, mate. It was brutal, to say the least, from too many of those players. I do think we've lost Ali. I'm going to have a wee check in with him, Nicky, just before I do, because Ali, are you with us? Have you caught up?
I can see you and hear you. I don't know if you see and hear me all right.
Yeah, you're back. The viewers were worried that you'd gone. Obviously, we'll try and crowdfund to get you some sort of internet connection. We're just glad you've got a roof over your head tonight, Ali. We know it's been tough for you with the dog sitting, etc. You did. I'll let your speed catch up. The internet speed catch up. We'll come to Nicky first. But obviously, to debrief and dissect, if you want, this Old Firm performance on Saturday. Celtic winning 2-1, pretty comfortable in my eyes. Before we rip it apart, Nicky, what was your overall view on that?
Disappointment, mate. I think as all of you probably were, but I think probably similar to I'm sure both you and Ali will echo. Probably not that surprised. I think I was maybe slightly more positive than you guys. I didn't think it was going to be 3 or 4-0. I just didn't see it being one of those games where they completely blew us away. I did think it would be quite edgy. I think Celtic certainly wouldn't want to lose the game. I think if they'd lost it, it brings us back in it. Even if we managed to get a draw with them going to Killie, it's a tough fixture. So I did think it would be quite edgy. I did think it would probably be quite close. And to be honest, 90 odd minutes in, we could have snatched a draw, right? By all means, we did not deserve a draw by any means, Ryan, but we were kind of in it. I think a part of that was maybe down to luck. I think a part of that was maybe down to Celtic's finishing to a degree. I think another day they maybe finishes off. I didn't think there would be a lot in it, albeit when John Lundstram walked, I did think they'll go 3-4-5 here. I was worried second half. I thought it would turn into a training match. I think, and to be honest, it kind of did. They dominated the vast majority of that. We had a wee flurry, which I think Ali spoke about on the post match just towards the end there, as you always do when there's kind of one match in it. But it was really disappointing, mate. I think that some of the big things for me, Ryan, were 5 minutes in, I thought we look leggy already. How can we look leggy, right? We've not played in a week, but it looked like an extra time game. Not for Celtic, but for us, we looked massively leggy, and it was the basics that killed us, right? I know there's a lot of noise at the minute about what is Clement doing, what's the coaching staff doing, is it the players, is it the mentality, is it Clement? We were failing massively at basics, mate. I mean, this is schoolboy stuff, right? This is stuff I teach my Waynes who are 3 and 5, right? About running, effort, marking your man, don't leave runners. John Lundstram, Fabio Silva, Bona Barisic, Tavernier was getting rinsed on that right-hand side every time Maida get the ball. He's utterly terrified of that guy, by the way. Utterly terrified of him. And it was just, I just thought that this is poor. But there was probably 3 things, Ryan, that massively came out for me. I think, firstly, we don't seem to have a plan when it comes to pressing. When Clement came in, I thought our press looked quite good. Actually, I think that was one of the first things they implemented. I thought we were quite aggressive. I thought our press looked quite good. But we seem all over the place at the minute. We don't seem to have a plan. And a perfect example is their right back, Alistair Johnston, had the ball several times, right? 1 minute, Dessers is pressing him. The next minute, it's Fabio Silva that's doing it. The next minute, it's Bona Barisic doing it. And then by the end of the half, it's John Lundstram making a 30-yard pitch that ends up getting him sent off. Surely, as a team, you have a structure that goes, when Celtic centre-halves have the ball, Tom Lawrence, this is where I want you. Cyril Dessers, this is where I want you. This is where our left wingers to be. This is what we seem to mix and match. And I don't know if that's down to the players. They're not taking on instructions, whatever. But the other thing for me, mate, is the other worrying thing I think was the personnel choices. Again, I think you guys will echo this. When the team came out, I thought, shit, this is the wrong team. Immediately I knew that was the wrong team, right? Tom Lawrence, Ali, I think you mentioned it, was going to get overrun, right? That was a disaster waiting to happen. Bona Barisic, another disaster waiting to happen. For me, see if Yilmaz is fit enough to be on the bench, you put him on. You get 50 minutes out of him, you get 60 minutes out of him. What he gives you in the last 20, 30 minutes that you've seen there, when you compare to Barisic, is night and day, mate. But the other big thing, and I think we spoke about this briefly, is we just massively lack composure, mate. We massively lack composure right across that team. Nobody's willing to just take the ball and do something with it. Hold the ball in, take the ball under pressure, take the ball when there's a guy up your arse. Tavernier, big hoof up the park. Suter, big hoof up the park. Bona Barisic, every time we get the ball, big hoof right up the park. I mean, what chance she got? Like, Carter Vickers is just going to clean them up all day long. All day long. You think back to how successful we were under Gerrard, playing against a press. You people like Steve Davis, Glenn Kamara, Joe Aribo, guys who'll take the ball, tight situations, break a press, pass through the lines. We just massively miss it. And I think you did see it a wee bit when the likes of Raskin and Yilmaz came on. They brought a bit of calmness to the ball. It was a big hoof. They actually tried to do something. They tried to progress. They tried to take players on. And again, there's a lot of people moaning about Clement's what is his tactics, right? Is he going long ball? Do you know what? He maybe is going long ball. And I tell you why he's doing it, Ryan, because he can't trust the midfield. He's going long ball because our midfielders simply aren't good enough to take a ball off a defender, turn, break a press, break through the lines and get the ball into attacking half. That's probably why he's going long, mate. But yeah, I think on the whole, mate, massively disappointed again because it's just another one where we've not turned up there. Several of our main players have froze, mate. But I think to what Ali said, not overly surprised with the end result, mate.
Aye, and I think that's a horrible thing, Nicky, is I don't think any Rangers fan was surprised by that on Saturday, by the performance, just everything we tried on Saturday, just nothing came as a surprise. The goals we conceded weren't surprising. Us losing our discipline didn't surprise me. Nothing really just struck me as something new that I've not seen already against that lot. And we play into their hands every time. It's beyond frustrating now. It's beyond frustrating. We could talk, that's 10 minutes gone. And I don't know how many things you said there that I've opened a can of worms in my head where I'm like, let's talk about that. There's so much wrong at the moment with this team. And we could speak about it for hours. Ali, you did the post-match. Very well done by yourself. I don't give you credit for much because, let's be honest, there's not much you do well, Ali, but you did that well on Saturday, and it was a hard one to do. You did say it was an easy one, but that's a hard one to do when you're yourself. Nicky makes loads of good points there, but is there anything changed in your view since, I was going to say the emotions come out? I think you were the same as me. I don't think there was much emotion because Groundhog Day, innit?
Yeah, and it's difficult to do on your own, Ryan, those type of reactions, especially when you know the views you're going to get. I knew the other side of the city would be waiting for it, along with other podcasts to watch us. I don't know why they want to watch us after their team wins, but fair enough if they do. There was actually a few nice comments from some of them in the comments saying about how balanced my views were. But I'll be honest, Ryan, I didn't have any feelings going into the game because I knew what I was going to watch. I could have honestly scripted that game pretty much before the game kicked off. I just thought my views from my post-match haven't changed at all. It's this Rangers team continually letting us down. Don't have it over Celtic. Don't know how to play against Celtic. Celtic are physically and mentally better than us. Rangers are physically and mentally weak. They bully us all over the park, Ryan. And it's not as if they've got bigger players than us. They don't, but they bully us. There was a challenge, I think it was quite early in the game, 10, 15 minutes. Tom Lawrence, he was favourite to win it. Didn't win it. I just thought stuff like that kind of sets the tone in these games. I thought, we're not up for this again. Too slow. I wasn't shocked, Ryan. And we all talked in Club Live before the game. And some people were saying, obviously, we're slightly negative, but it's not negative. We're saying what we see. I said on Club Live that I didn't speak to one Rangers fan last week, Ryan, that had confidence in this team going in. And you listen to all the other guys, all the other Rangers podcasts, where we're all singing off the same hymn sheet. You just don't expect it from this team, Ryan, and I don't expect it from them in less than 2 weeks' time at Hampden either. But it is what it is, and unfortunately, he needs to get rid of a lot of these players. But it was a poor day, Ryan, because once again they didn't show me anything again.
No, absolutely nothing. I think we had a quick conversation, Ali, just before we started. We went live, and Jamie's optimistic, and I like it. I like that we've got quite a good balance on this pod in terms of me. I'll bring everybody down no matter what. If we've beaten Real Madrid 4-0, I'm not happy. It should have been 5. You know, I'm that kind of guy, and I think we've got a good balance on this podcast. That kind of optimism and pessimism, it gives a good balance out. But Jamie said on the chat the other day there about during the game, he was like, I think we maybe had a chance if Lundstram hadn't get sent off. John Lundstram, for me, let his ego get on top of him or get the better of him. I think he was still carrying that on goal. I think he's had a moment of madness. When I seen it at first, I thought, that's a bit spicy, that tackle. Didn't think it was a red. Then I seen the replay. I was like, you can't get in like that. If somebody goes in like that against a Rangers player, I want him off the pitch. And I think looking at it was unnecessary from Lundstram. And hopefully the kind of end of his Rangers career, I don't want to see him again. I got laughed at the live show for saying I wouldn't give him a contract. That's why he's not good enough, and he's let his ego get the better of him. Whether you think we had a chance with John Lundstram on the pitch or not, or other men on the pitch or not, is by the by. But Nicky, a moment of madness for Lundstram, and surely the end of him.
It's a coward's tackle, if you ask me, mate. I don't think it's a hard man tackle. I think it's a coward's tackle. I think he's felt his shots, right? We're 2-0 down or 2-1. We just got it back, right? But Lundstram was already doing his usual, right? He was dropping in between Suter and Ben Davies fairly early doors, because let's face it, he's fear to take the ball when a Matt O'Reilly or a Callum McGregor or a Hatate is up his arse. He's fear to do it, right? And I said this again. I think there are players in this team who are simply scared to take the ball in these situations in case they get robbed and they get punished, right? We've seen what happened with Tav and Barisic and different players over the last couple of years when Celtic nick the ball in these situations, and John Lundstram is getting in there to try and protect his cell, right? But it was a coward's tackle. I think, to be honest, that is one of the first half performances that will go down in the history books as one of the worst ever. I made a comment about Fernando Rickson is always remembered for getting hooked however many minutes into an Old Firm debut because he was getting absolutely tore up of one of their players. Philippe Senderos is another one that springs to mind, an absolute horror show of a debut in an Old Firm where Celtic again completely gubbed us. John Lundstram is another one because, see, in my opinion, I know Tav loses the ball, right? Tav makes a ridiculous pass where he fails to hit not one but three men in the middle of the park. About a minute later, Celtic score. But see, if you watch John Lundstram, just he's stunning watching. Honestly, he's ball watching, centre mid ball watching. As Matt O'Reilly just wanders into a position. Ben Davies, you could maybe argue, could maybe get out a wee bit quicker. Bona Barisic, I don't think covers his selling glory. But for me, John Lundstram is one of the main culprits for that first goal. And then even the second one, you go, what the hell are you doing? Like, he looked as if he had time to sort his feet out, but somehow he's managed to toe poke it in the bottom corner. And then I'd love to know who he's pointing at, by the way, because he then turns around and he's pointing at somebody as if it's their fault, right? I know Tav had given the ball had went out and Tavernier maybe should have got ahead, but Tav was behind him. He's pointing at somebody up the park. I don't know who he's pointing at, but I think it was a coward's tackle, mate, because he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to land it on somebody. As I say, go back to that. Why is John Lundstram pressing the right back? He shouldn't be that, right? If their right back sidesteps him, John Lundstram's caught 60 yards up the park. Celtic are breaking again. So it's a coward's tackle. He's made a complete arse of it. I will admit, Ryan, I was probably duped again by Lundstram's purple patch. I probably would have. I think I said on this pod, I would have probably gave him a new contract, but it came to fruition what John Lundstram gives you, right? He's a big, strong boy, right? He's a big English strong boy. He's played in the Premier League against St Mirren at home, Dundee at home, St Johnstone at home. He'll put his cell about, he'll bully it. He's got plenty of time on the ball that he can, do you know what? He can pick forward passes and people maybe go, do you know what? Maybe there's something in John Lundstram. See, when he's against the big boys, Celtic, some of the games in Europe, I thought Benfica, he was shocking as well. The games against Benfica, I didn't think he was up to much. When they're on, they're up his arse, they're pressing him. He just goes into a shell. And as I say, I was probably duped into saying I would have given him a new contract, but yeah, surely the end of him now, mate. I seen Clement made a comment today that he went on, he apologised, etc. Who cares, mate? Who cares? Ban him for 2 games. I'd appeal it and get him banned for an extra game just so we don't need to see him again, right? Because if he wanders back into the Scottish Cup final starting lineup, then more of the credit in the bank that Clement has built up with his fan base will very quickly go. Because, see, for me, Raskin done more in 30 minutes than what Lundstram has done in the last month for me. I didn't think Raskin was brilliant, but I thought he offered a hell of a lot more than what John Lundstram has. And hopefully this is the end of Lundstram, mate, in a Rangers jersey.
Yeah, he epitomises this cycle that we're in as a club just now, not just a footballing team, as a club just now, where he can dupe a manager or a support into thinking he's above the level that he actually is at. So I agree with you. He can do it against the St Mirrens, the Aberdeens. I made a point, I think it was Friday or the pod before, but I said, give me a game John Lundstram's laid a glove on that lot. Semi-final, I might give you that one. He's played it against them so many times and he is miles off it in an Old Firm game, miles. Whether that's legs, strength, quality, all of the above, I don't know, but he never seems to do it in an Old Firm game. And us as a support, I'm going to give myself a bit of credit because I always call him out, but as an element of our support, I worry where their standards are at if they think John Lundstram is what we can build a team around, because he never has been. Ali, I know John Lundstram cares. Let's look at the human element of it, or the people element of it. I know he cares about Rangers, but I care about Rangers. If you stick me in that midfield against them in the cup final, O'Reilly, McGregor will run over the top of me. I'll maybe lay one on them, but they'll run over the top of me. You can't just play someone because you care about the club. John Lundstram is miles off what we need in the midfield against that lot.
he's way miles off, and I was slightly duped as well, along with Nicky, a while ago when John Lundstram went through that, because when Clement came in, John Lundstram was very good. I would say he was probably in the top 3 players at Rangers at that point, and he was dictating games against, let's not be around the bush, against lower teams and your Kilmarnocks, Hibs. They should be doing that anyway. And I always said that I'll judge him at the end of the season when he's came to, when we see what he's been like in the kind of business end of the season. But I agree, he's a kind of symbol of guys we've had at Rangers that should be moved on, and he's just not got it. He's not got the legs. He's not got the energy. The Celtic midfield 3 were just, well, the amount of space they had and time and running amok over our midfield, and they've been doing it for years. We've just not had it at all. The season we won the league was probably the only season we really had a decent balance in the midfield. After that, we've not at all. But the telling thing for me is the cup final, because Lundstram, well, I'd assume he's got a 2-match ban, which means he'll be available for the cup final. If John Lundstram starts for Rangers in that cup final, I'll be worried in terms of our manager. The only flip side to that I'll say is he has dropped Goldson. So he's done that, and a lot of managers wouldn't. So he has done that. I hope, and he listens to the Rangers fans, he's not stupid, he'll know. Can he play him in that cup final, Ryan? Can't play him, because we'll just end up exactly where we are right now, talking about the same situation again, the same type of game again. But John Lundstram, has to go in the summer, along with, like we've said for Donkeys, a long list of other players that has to go. But he was abysmal on Saturday, really was. And he let the manager and he let the support down, ultimately.
Yeah, he did. And I want to be clear, because we're going to speak about other players here. I sent an agenda over earlier on, and maybe wasn't as polite as we're going to put it here, and what the subject was. But John Lundstram doesn't carry the can completely for me, for all these players. He doesn't. But he's a core of players who, for me, cannot be here next season. We're back to this draw the line in the sand. We had this conversation, Ali, a year ago on a pod, where we said, under this management, the draw the line in the sand time, we'd been beaten by them again. Draw the line in the sand time, these players need to go. The old guard need to go. And at Rugby Park, we started with Tavernier, Goldson, Lundstram, Ryan Jack played, Kemar Roof played. I think there was 1 or 2 others. And we recruited poorly as well. And lo and behold, we get beat from Kilmarnock and the league's gone as well this season. We'll talk about rebuilds, etc., rebuild 3.0 if you want to call it, but Nicky, it's drawn. I'm going to come on to another player, and I think this will split us a bit, because I know you guys are a fan of him. Everybody will be able to guess who it is. I'm going to speak personally, and then we'll ask you a question. I've had enough of watching James Tavernier in Old Firm games underperform. I understand he scored a lot of goals. I understand he scored a lot of important goals. He's done for me. I'm going to be brutal when I say this. He is done for me because teams target him and they are getting pleasure out of that side of our team more and more now. It used to be that his goals and his assists would outweigh the negative, if you want to put it that way, Nicky. Every Old Firm game I'm expecting a goal down that side. Every Old Firm game I'm expecting him to have a howler and give the ball away. If you think of the game at Ibrox and then this game here where they gave the ball away, they broke up the part and scored. Down that side, Maeda, who I don't rate as a good player, by the way. Fast, yes. Powerful. He presses well. He isn't a good footballer. He beats Tavernier so easily for the second goal. I genuinely believe we need to move on to James Tavernier. I think he's a bigger problem than some people let on. I get it'll split the support, but let's keep it friendly because we are friends, Nicky. What's your views? I know you're a fan of him, but what are your views on James Tavernier going forward by Rangers? I just feel as if the time has come now.
I probably agree with you, mate. So I'm hoping there's a wee bit of extra space in your camp, Ryan, to be honest with you. I think just on Maeda quickly, I'd said a few weeks ago, Maeda's probably the best player in this league without the ball, in my opinion. Without the ball, he's probably the best player in this league, right? His physicality, his press. But as you say, he doesn't do anything tricky. He's not a Jota, right? Who'll take a piss at you, right? I can get it. With Jota was very, very technically good. Maeda's just fast and quick, and as I say, Tavernier's terrified of him, right? You think about that second goal, right? That ball's pinged 40 yards across the park, right? Maeda's got to pull it. It's 4-5 feet in the air. Maeda's got to pull it. Why is your right back not right up his arse on his first touch? Like, his first touch is never going to be... He's not Ronaldinho, right? His first touch is never going to be brilliant. What Tavernier does, though, is he stands 5 yards off and starts backing off. He allows Maida to get a run on him. Maida's going to beat him 99 times out of 100 if he's got a run on him. Why is he doing that? Tavernier, for me... I spoke at length about Tavernier a few weeks ago on this pod, because I feel as if there's been two camps with Tav for a while now. There's been the camp that want rid of him. There's been the camp that go, do you know what, he's done so much for this club, he can't. And he delivers so much. And at the time, I'd kind of said I was kind of in between, because I obviously agree, or I realise that his defensive his frailties are in his defending. But I also made the point that he still contributes so much to this team. And that's not maybe necessarily a dig at Tav, right? That's a dig at this recruitment, the recruitment of this club over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Why do we not have a striker and two wingers that contribute 50 goals a season between them, 40, 50 goals a season? Because that's what you get over the road, right? That's what you get over the road. You get their centre forward scoring 20 or 30 goals, and you get their wingers chipping in with 10 and 15 each. We just simply don't have that. We're still so reliant on James Tavernier. So what I was very wary of, Ryan, is if we are going to replace James Tavernier, we need to address that centre forward. We need to address those wingers and guys who are going to contribute numbers at the top end of the park. But James Tavernier is very quickly changing my opinion, mate. Right? Again, your captain. And a lot of people have digs at Tavernier, right, over the years about, is he a leader? And I always think that people still look at Roy Keane and go, that's what a leader is, because he shouts and balls and he smashes folk and I don't necessarily think that's what you want in a captain, right? To some degree, you do want that, who's going to stick a rocket up somebody's arse if they're not performing. But a captain is also somebody who leads by example, right? Who scores big goals, who will take the ball under pressure. And that is one of the things I will say of James Tavernier, is over the years, when Tavernier does make mistakes, or he's maybe not having a bad game, he doesn't tend to hide. What I'm seeing at the minute, Ryan, is a guy that's hiding. He is hiding, particularly in these games. And so, yes, I think we still fantasise a wee bit that goes, if we maybe get the structure right, we maybe get stronger midfielders, we maybe get a better attacking output like we had in the 55 season, maybe you'll get a better version of James Tavernier again. But what we probably need to remember is the James Tavernier at 55, who won Player of the Year in Scotland and Player of the Year for Rangers, was 28 years old, right? He's 32 now. He plays 50 games a season every single year. He's got 2 years left on his contract. I know he wants to hang about for a testimonial, right? We need to probably move on. Again, you look, and I don't like praising them, you look at Alistair Johnson, right? I don't think he's the best football player, right? But he bullied Fabio Silva, right? You talk about a 35 million Premier League player. He bullied him, kicked him off the park, hassled him, pulled him out the road. He got up the park, he got down the park, he does the good stuff, he does the bad stuff. We need to look at that, right? James Tavernier gives us so much going forward, but the frailties in defence are now beginning to outweigh, I think, what he gives us going up the park, mate. So I think if there was, I still don't think he's necessarily top of the list in terms of priorities for the summer, but I think if there are legitimate offers to move James Tavernier on in the summer, we need to take it. Same as Connor Goldson, the same as all the people who are out of contract, as well as a handful of others that I think we should actively be trying to push out of the door come the summer window, mate.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, lads, it's a no-brainer for me what I want to see with James Tavernier, but you make some really good points that no matter what I think of his defensive capabilities, and I think it's so important to have defenders who can defend first and foremost in big games like this, because when you're playing quality opposition, you do have to defend firstly. But no matter what I think of that, is when you do move him on, whether it be this summer or in 2 years, whenever it is, it's going to be costly to replace him. And I don't mean by a right wing back who scores these goals or has these assists. It's the goals up front, or where you get these goals from. And you're completely right that you need to. There's no other team that I can think of in the world that has to rely on their right back to score goals. But that's a frailty of ours, because we shouldn't be set up like that. We should be set up for our midfield or our wingers and our strikers to score goals, and we're not. We lack serious quality, and you can see it when we're playing against that lot, that we just don't have the creativity, or to use your term, early Nicky, the composure. Again, I could go down a rabbit hole here. What's wrong? Ali, you're a Tavernier fan. I get it. You love him, and he's done a lot for the club. I totally agree to a point. I just feel when I'm watching Old Firm games now, it's not only Groundhog Day. It's just I can see, you could put a blindfold over me and I can see where our weakness is. Any manager could set up against Rangers with a decent team and go, hit that right back, hit that ball over that right back. He does not like it. Run at him. He doesn't like it. The amount of goals we lose down that side, he is also getting slower. I just feel, Ali, you might not like it. I know Mr. Carney won't like it either. I think we've seen the best of him, Ali.
I mean, he's 32 years of age now, Ryan, so he's been a good servant for Rangers. I agree. Yeah, he scores a lot of goals for Rangers, but the top end of the park haven't helped Rangers over the last few years at all. Over-reliant on a right back is shocking, to be honest. But at the moment, in the big games, especially against them, he's been poor. And that Maeda, he can't deal with him at all. His pace and his power just can't deal with him. And they do target that ball over the top. And yeah, I'd like to think Clement's looking at a right back going forward, because, like, as I say, Ryan, he's 32, coming for 33. We'll need to move on for James Tavernier. He's been there 8 seasons, which is a long period of time in modern day for a footballer to be at a football club. But we need. Can I
just jump in, Ali? Because you're making a good point here, and somebody's put a comment in as well, which I encourage MD to get involved in the pod, and he said Tavernier deserves a testimonial. Now, this is something that gives me the itch a bit. Now, a testimonial is when you've played for 10 years, and Tavernier's played for 8. So right now, in my opinion, this is something that's wrong at the club. Tavernier's come out this month and said, "Has already been talk about a testimonial for me." Why? Because no player should be guaranteed anything in that team until you're putting the standards are up on and off the pitch. So if you let your standards go on the pitch, it's all right. I've got a testimonial coming in 2 years. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, because when he said that a month ago or whenever it was, or a few weeks ago, that didn't sit well with me, because nobody should be sitting there going, "It's all right, I'm getting a testimonial in 2 years. The club have already told me." It's just something somebody said in the chat there, and I think that's all wrong for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've had testimonials for guys, but testimonials for guys over the years that have won lots of trophies for Rangers and flung that in your face, and that's what you want. If Tav was delivering trophy after trophy for us, and he stays for another 2 years, yes. But he's not. He's been part of a core team that, when it gets to the crunch, just can't do it. I know we won the league obviously a couple of seasons ago, but over his time we've really not won much at all. A couple of cups and a league title, that's pretty much it, to be honest. So yeah, a player can't hang around just to get a testimonial, Ryan. I agree with you. If he's at a level now where he can't perform for Rangers week in, week out, you move him on and you get a right back in. I liked, see, when Sterling dropped back to right centre half, and I feel sorry for this boy, because he's played every bloody position for Rangers. I thought he dealt with Maeda very well, to be honest. At points he was going out there, he matched him for pace, matched him for power. A lot of folk are saying put Sterling in the middle of the park because we lack energy and legs in there. Next season, when we get to build a team we want to build and we get legs and energy, do we put Sterling at right back? Do we put him there next season starting?
Yeah, that's what
I know a lot of folk are saying put Sterling in the middle of the park at this present point, and I agree at that, because legs. But next season, I'd like to think we look at the middle of the park and bring players to play in there which then opens up Sterling to play where he's supposed to play at right back. So Sterling, for me, plays at right back next season. I think you build your team around this guy, you really do.
I totally agree. This is who I was going to go into next, because I know it's been negative. I know it has been negative, but it's just for me. I've been banging the drum about Tavernier playing further up the park for years because of his defensive frailties, but he provides so much up the pitch, and I understand it. So many people have played the game. Nicky's played at a far better level than I have. With Tavernier being a wing back, he needs that space in front of him to run with the ball. And having somebody behind him is going to be beneficial for us, not the way he plays the game. So then you're starting to shape the team round about Tavernier again, just because we've got to move him up the pitch because he's not as fast or his defensive capabilities are worse than they were or whatever. I feel the obvious solution is now, and it has been for a while for me, but I'm obviously FFS Tav Brigade, is Dujon Sterling, who we will speak about now, boys, because it is a positive. Now, Nicky, we'll love Sterling. And I felt for him on Saturday. I really did. I didn't feel for many players, but I felt for him because a new position again. For me, I thought he had a great game. I thought he really was a big part of us keeping that score down. He came in the beginning of the season and he was asked, one of the first press conferences this season, they said, are you a centre half? And he said, no, I'm a right back. And they said, where do you expect to be playing? And they said, right back, that's where I expect to be playing. He said, all respect to Tav, like he's a legend here, but he's like, I'm a right back. My game is defending first and foremost. And I loved it. I loved when he said it because I thought this boy's hungry. And when Ali says there how Sterling dealt with Maeda and his defensive capabilities, for me, he just looks a young, hungry player, which our current right back isn't.
He's just a freak, mate. He's a bit like he's like Bassey, but more versatile. Because everywhere you put him, he gives you an 8 or a 9 out of 10 every single position. I think with one exception, he played left wing against St Mirren. I think early in the season he wasn't brilliant, but everywhere else he's been superb. And it was funny, I seen a thing on Twitter. I think I put it in a WhatsApp. He actually played up front for, was it Chelsea under 18s a few years ago and scored a goal in the final, whatever competition it was against Man City 18. So the boy can do it all, but it kind of comes back to this Tav and what the output of the centre forwards debate. I think, a right back first and foremost should be able to defend. When we set up a team that depends on your right back creating and scoring all your goals, you maybe put that to the wayside a wee bit. But that's why recruitment's key. I think Sterling looks like the ready replacement at right back. He's a big, strong boy. Ali's spot on, by the way. As I say, Maeda's one of the quickest players in the league. Sterling dealt with him, no problem. Honestly, no problem. Maeda tried 2 or 3 times to get by him. Sterling keeps pace with him. He's as strong as him. Just takes the ball off and puts it for a throw, whatever it is. Rangers regain possession. So he does look like that ready replacement to go in there, but recruitment is key because I'm the same as you. I do feel sorry for Sterling, right? He just gets fired into every position where we've got an injury or we're kind of lacking a wee bit of quality. And that's as a footballer, that's not what you want, mate. You know what I mean? He'll want to have a position. He'll want to have a jersey, as they say, to put the old metaphor into play of this is my jersey and I'm going to keep it if that's right back. I think earlier on in the season, there was a wee bit of chat about they were trying to mould him into a centre mid as well. Again, he's another one who I think looks very good in centre mid because he's so aggressive. He covers the ground really quickly. He's actually a lot better on the ball as well than I actually thought he was. So he does do that, but I think recruitment's key. I think we need upgrades in centre mid. I wouldn't like to go, and this is no disrespect to Dujon Sterling, by the way, but I wouldn't like to go into August and have Dujon Sterling as our centre mid. As you say, Ryan, he's a right back. I think in an ideal world, you move Tavernier on, or he goes into second choice and supports with Sterling as the number one choice going forward, and we spend money or we recruit well in centre mid, and you bring in centre mids who can dictate and control games, because that's something we just can't do at the minute. We just can't dictate and control games. Again, you go back to the 55 season under Gerrard, centre mid was really strong for us. We didn't spend a massive amount of money on it, but neither have Celtic, right? Celtic have got McGregor, they've got Hatate, they've got O'Reilly, 3 good players. I don't think they spent a lot of money on it. 55 season, we had guys like Joe Aribo. Would we spend £500,000 on Joe Aribo? We had 50 grand on Glenn Kamara. We had Stephen Davis, a Rolls Royce, a player who we got on a free transfer. So there are bargains to be had there, but we just massively lack that control in centre mid. So yeah, I think in an ideal situation, mate, Sterling is in as the right back. You maybe have somebody like Adam Devine as his backup if you can manage to move Tavernier on and you recruit well. And first, the centre mid, so that you're not relying on Dujon Sterling being versatile and getting into support there. But as I said earlier, you need to address the wingers and you need to address that centre forward to make sure that the output that they're giving you means that we move away from this structure that we're relying on. Because we've done it for years, mate. We honestly, with the exception of the 55 season, as a team, we have relied so heavily on one player. We used to do it with Morelos. When Morelos went off the boil, or he had a red card and he got a ban, we would see our results drop. Now we're doing it with Tavernier. We're so reliant on him, digging us out a hole, creating goals, scoring goals. When he goes off the boil, we're up shit creek, mate, and everybody starts pointing the finger at him and our centre forward. So we need to get the recruitment right, mate. But Sterling, again, you kind of run out of plaudits for the boy, mate, and he looks like a ready replacement again at that right back. He's strong, aggressive, and his strong point is defending, which is exactly what we need.
Yeah, his physicality for me is just what I want in a defender. I think we all criticise the defenders we've got for. I always kind of claim it as making 5-a-side tackles. They're happy to kind of run shoulder to shoulder with somebody and try and nick it away from him. But he enjoys a tackle. He enjoys, like, and I don't mean anything dirty. Like, he enjoys an old-fashioned tackle where he makes contact with somebody, and he's very good at it as well. He times his tackles brilliantly. He's just an old-fashioned right back for me, and I want to say again, like, because I'll get it in the neck about Tavernier, and I've went for him tonight, but he deserves it. It's my opinion, but it's not all on Tavernier. This isn't me saying Rangers will be brilliant once you take Tavernier out of the team. I'm not saying that at all. I just think it's time for us to move on from him and Goldson, etc. We've said it for a year, but Dujon Sterling for me, is a player that's probably the only player that will run Jack Butland close for Player of the Year. I think he's been brilliant. He's been a revelation. He's been reliable. He's been utilised in a number of positions, as we've said. So he deserves a lot of credit, and I felt for him on Saturday because he comes across as somebody who really cares about his football and cares about the team he's playing for, and it's something I want to see. He's hungry, and we talk about renewing the spine of that team because we feel as if we don't have a spine. If you keep Butland, and let's hope we do, and for talking sake, you play Dujon Sterling, you start Dujon Sterling at right back. For me, that's start of a spine of a team because they both do their jobs extremely well. I'll move on. With Dujon Sterling was a positive, and I'm taking that. So don't aim to say this is a negative podcast. We were positive about Dujon Sterling there, but we will jump on to something a bit more controversial. I don't think I put it in the agenda, but I just thought about him there. And that person is Todd Cantwell. Boys, Todd Cantwell. I watched the Twitter footage of the players coming out of Ibrox on Saturday, and he had his head down. They were going onto the bus, and he had his face tripping him by the looks of it, coming out of Ibrox, and I knew straight away he wasn't starting. Before the lineup was, I thought he's went in a huff here because he's not starting. Cantwell probably has a argument that he should have started, but I think in an Old Firm game, being in a huff where he was or not, I don't know. For me, it does look at the end for Todd Cantwell. If you aren't even getting any minutes in an Old Firm game, I think there's a major problem there, Ali. I'll come to you before it for months. There's always been these whether it's an early substitution for Cantwell or he's not starting or he's dropped or whatever. There's always been this kind of strange relationship with Clement and Cantwell. And I'll say it again, I'm pretty confident Cantwell is not Philip Clement's type of player, and it could be the start of the end for him.
Yeah, I think so. Even to not come off the bench yesterday, and we made umpteen substitutions, and he's one of your key players, if you want to say, in terms of doing something for us, because he's a guy that can create for us, and he didn't come off the park the whole season since Clement's been in. We've talked about it. He's been, as you say there, he's been dropped, etc. He's came back, has wee purple patches, he's got injured, he's in and out the team this season. Very similar kind of pattern to when he was in Norwich a wee bit at the tail end of his Norwich career, to be honest. And why did he leave Norwich? Why didn't they play him? And now we've got him. So, yeah, I agree with Ryan. I don't think he fancies him. I mean, we're not there and training around the players. We don't know what their attitude's like. We can only guess from looking at them. But I don't think Clement likes him in terms of his attitude, etc. And I agree, Ryan. I think he'll look to move him on in the summer. But the only thing is, I do not know what you would value Todd Cantwell at the moment. I don't know what his value would be. Young enough guy, decent footballer, but I don't know what Rangers would value him at. I really don't. I mean, plucking figures out of the sky, 3 million or something. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think he's worth mega bucks at the moment because he's not done it for Rangers this season. So, yeah, I think Clement will look at moving him on in the summer. I think he's not in the group of players he wants to keep.
No, I think the physical thing, if you think we spoke about last week or the week before about the 4 pillars that Clement wants to build his team on, I don't quite see where Cantwell fits in that in terms of physicality. No, I don't think so. Mentality, I've not seen the mentality from him yet. I don't see where he fits in, Ali. Far to deceive sometimes. Again, another one who I think cares about the club, but it's not enough. It's not enough in becoming a bit of a kind of joke figure for me, with the kind of talk he does and the cryptic messages he puts on social media, and he's this kind of hate figure. He never seems to shut people up and do it on the pitch for me. And before I move on to Nicky, if it was up to you, Ali, are you selling Cantwell in the summer?
Would I sell him if it was up to me?
Yeah. Would you sell him personally?
Yeah, because he's not done it in big games for me, Ryan. And when I say big games, I look at games against them, and I look at players that I think have they really done it? No, he's not done it for me. And that McGregor, let's be honest about it, he is a joke figure to them, Ryan. They laugh at him. You see that McGregor in the middle of the park laughing at him, and he says silly comments, Cantwell, and he said it about. I think he said a comment about Callum McGregor, whatever it was, and McGregor must be sitting there going, "How many trophies have you got?" And he's dictating these games. So he's not done it for me, big games, Ryan. So yeah, if we could get a reasonable amount of money for him in the summer to reinvest in what is going to be a big turnover of players, I'd sell him.
Yeah. Nicky, have we been harsh on Cantwell? I spoke on Friday about I was critical of Tom Lawrence in the Old Firm game previously, and I said he probably deserved another chance because we've seen flashes of Tom Lawrence where he's a good player. He's picked over Cantwell. I would have picked him over Cantwell before the weekend. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. I thought Tom Lawrence was rotten again. He is not the player that I hoped he would be. I've kind of totally lost hope on that guy. And now I'm thinking, is Cantwell a better player than him? It's a bin fire, a conversation, to be honest with you, Nicky, but taking it back to Todd Cantwell, for me, looks finished here. I think that he doesn't have a future at Rangers, whether he's been told that or not. But if you aren't playing a minute in an Old Firm game when that squad is so depleted with injuries, the future doesn't look good for him.
Nah, it doesn't, mate. And I think I'd said a few, because I think it was around about January time that there was the whole palaver where he got hooked at, or maybe slightly before when Clement first kind of get hooked very, very early in a European game, sure, and then he was kind of in and out a wee bit. And I think at that point I said it wouldn't surprise me if he goes in the summer. I don't think he would go in January, but it wouldn't surprise me if he goes in the summer. I mean, for me, mate, I'll harper on about this, right? Every single week. Do we get enough for our front 3 or 4? Nah, we don't. Big Dessers, by the way, fair play to him, right? His attitude's been spot on. He's contributed goals, right? He should probably have 42 instead of 22 or whatever it is he's got, right? But he has contributed. But again, do we get enough from the guys who are playing out wide? Seema was doing it, to be fair to him. Again, Big Seema was doing it. Obviously, he's been very unfortunate with injuries. But Todd Cantwell plays, again, one of the most important positions for Rangers. If you think about Clement's formation, that number 10 position, that kind of advanced midfielder, probably one of the most important positions on the park. Does he contribute enough? What's Todd Cantwell got this year? 3-4 goals, 3-4 assists. Is that good enough to play with Rangers? No chance, not in my opinion, right? Again, I don't like to continually harp on about that lot, right? But you look across the city. The boy O'Reilly signed for a similar fee. As I think we paid about 1.5 million for Cantwell because he was nearing the end of his contract. O'Reilly actually I think came from a lower league than what Cantwell came from. I think Norwich was Championship. I actually think O'Reilly might have came from League One. Correct me if I'm wrong.
MK Dons or something like this.
Yeah.
Might have been right. So lower down in the English pyramid. Look at his numbers, right? He must have 15 goals. He must have 15 assists. That's what you want for a attacking 8, a 10. So I think if there was, and Ali, I think Cantwell probably falls into a similar position as Ben Davies, mate. In my opinion, I think there will be suitors in the Championship that will take him. I think there will be guys down there that will take him. I think if there's offers on the table, I think you can get better. I think you can shop smarter. I think if you can get 2 or 3 million, you can reinvest another 2 or 3 million. I think you can get a better player. Cantwell is. The thing for me is Cantwell is one of the guys that does show composure a wee bit in this team. He does take the ball in tight areas. You know what I mean? He will try and do something. Occasionally he does do too much, but I just don't think his numbers are good enough. I think we can get better. I think if you're serious about playing a 10 in that formation next year with Clement, I think he'd be looking for somebody who's going to contribute more numbers up that end of the park, mate.
Yeah. I think he's definitely his numbers are a thing, but if he played on Saturday, do I think he would have made a difference? I don't. I think you look at how powerful kind of they are in the midfield. O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, they're quick. They're all quick, powerful. I don't see Cantwell as a kind of player that will be able to be physical with him. And I think that's where Clement. I'm hoping that's where Clement's going down this route of getting physical players in. Again, reiterating, he did say it's one of these pillars, and Cantwell doesn't strike me as one of these players that will fit into. If that's going to be his philosophy, he doesn't fit in. And I think there'll be suitors down in England that would take him. He's still got a name. People know who Todd Cantwell is down south, and I'm not saying he's going to go Premier League, but I think a Championship team would definitely take him, and hopefully they'll be hoping to get a tune out of him. So this summer, for me, in my opinion, I think you're the same, Nicky. You would sell him. Is that correct? Would you sell him?
Yeah, 100%.
I would sell him as well. I think we've been guilty of not selling players at the right time and hoping they turn a corner. There's a pattern in Todd Cantwell's career, and it looks to be materialising once again. Guys, we could do 2-3 hours, 2-3 hours of this debrief and ripping this team apart. We'll do it over the next pods, but we're playing again tomorrow night. Strap yourselves in, and I know you're all buzzing. Calm down, the people that are getting excited in the comments there. We've got Dundee at home. It'll be an absolute cracker. Philippe Clement spoke to the press today, and he said we always look back in the game. We had some chances in the opening stages, but to go in at half time with 10 and 2-1 down, it makes it more difficult to get out the end result. He spoke about players being fit. He said we've got 11 players missing tomorrow. It won't shock you that the injury list has grown. Suter, Goldson, Balogun, Sterling, Lundstram, Lawrence, Cortez, Matondo, Sima, Danilo and Rice will all be missing for tomorrow. Hopefully Jordan Rossiter makes it. We will fight really hard in the cup final. We need to stay with 11 and take our moments. Don't know why he's going on about that, but Clement, we could speak about this. I was going to speak about him tonight, but I'm not going to. I think we'll leave it for Friday, but Clement's kind of making comments just now that I'm not too happy with. But boys, we're playing Dundee tomorrow, so let's focus on that. It is a nothing game in my opinion. I know the Majors Platinum tier will be saying that we can still win it. I want to see major changes, and I mean like whether you play. I want to see young boys get a chance. Whether can Lowry play 20 minutes? I want to see that. I want this as an opportunity for younger players to get a chance to try something different, just something different tomorrow night. I don't want to see the mundane selection, the tactics. one thing that Clement did say, and I put it in the chat earlier, and whether I've taken it the wrong way or not, I don't know, but Clement said this is a chance in the next few weeks for players to put a marker down, something along those lines. I don't want to hear it. Ali, what are you expecting from tomorrow? And what do you want to see from the team lineup? Not from the team, because we all know what we want to see for the team, but what do you want to see for the team lineup?
I'll be honest, Ryan, I'm really not looking forward to going tomorrow. I need to do the post-match as well again, which again I'm looking forward to doing. But just go on to the Rangers ticket website and have a look at folk that have put their seat back to resell, by the way. Whole ground. I think tomorrow will be, I don't think it'll be a nice place to be. And I think there'll be a lot of Rangers fans that won't turn up tomorrow, Ryan, because they've had enough, to be honest. And rightfully so, to be honest. I'll be there. There'll be a lot of people there probably just to get their Myers point, to keep their points up, just so they can guarantee for next season semis and finals. But yeah, I'd like to see the thing going forward, Ryan, is we've got 2 games before this cup final. We need to try something before this cup final. I'd like to get guys in like Raskin, who I thought came on and looked decent. I'd give him a go for. He has to give him a go because we've done it the bare bones. Yeah. But I'd like to see a few new players in the team. I'll be honest, so Ryan, I mean, he's not getting much to play with, but I don't think he'll change it drastically. Players like Silver, who was all right on Saturday, who again I've said for weeks I don't really want to see him in a Rangers jersey. I think we probably will see him in a Rangers jersey. But yeah, I really don't know what I'm going to go and see tomorrow night, Ryan. It wouldn't shock me if Rangers turned up and beat Dundee 4-0 or something, because the pressure's off. So it wouldn't shock me that. But he needs to get a couple of players and maybe try something, because we've got 2 games before this cup final. So I think it'll be interesting, but there's 11 players out. So we are down to the bare bones in terms of what he can do.
Yeah. Ali's right, Nicky. Clement's hands are tied, and his hands are tied on Saturday as well. We had a lot of injuries. Let's not forget that. Do I think it played a huge part in the outcome? No, I don't. I think, as we've in length discussed it, big players let us down, but his hands are tied with what changes he can make, Nicky. But I would like to see a kind of Sterling at right back, Leon King getting some minutes. Do you play?
He's injured, Sterling.
Sterling's injured, so he is.
That's why you can't do it.
Right, so well, this
is the absolute definition of his hands are tied behind his back. I think he's going to have about 12 players to pick for, so we're probably all going to have a very similar team, I think, based on lack of options.
Do you know, I'm definitely not going tomorrow night in case he asks me to bring my boots a lot, because he is going to get an awful performance for me. So Sterling's injured, but what I'm really getting, Nicky, is I'd like to see some sort of freshness, something maybe just a wee bit different if he can. Leon King there, that's about it.
I think so, mate. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really a fan of just throwing in youth after a shit show performance, right? I think what tends to happen, right? We've seen it when the shit show went on with Beale, right? It was all of a sudden it was bin our strikers and bring in Zach Lovelace as if he's some sort of Pele, right, at 17 years old, right? There's a reason these boys are not breaking the door down to the first team, right? They're probably not good enough yet anyway. And I'm very much in the space that I'd like to give youth a chance, but I also think it would be a bit unfair to just throw youth in, because I think Ali's got a point, right? You've got a point as well, Ryan. Ibrox is going to be pretty toxic tomorrow, right? There's probably going to be 20 or 30,000 folk there. I mean, a couple of people are saying 40. I don't think we'll get near 40,000. I don't think it'll be as high as that. I think it'll be 20, 30, honestly. Yeah, and I think it'll be quite toxic. And I'm not sure that's fair to take the guys who have let us down out the limelight, right, and throw in young boys. I'm just not convinced it's fair, right? So I would like to see people like Tav and maybe some of the other guys in there to experience it, because it's their freaking fault, right, for lack of a better phrase, that Ibrox is going to be toxic, right, because they've shit the bed again in another big game. So I don't think there'll be massive amounts of changes. I think similar to Ali, I think I'd like to see Raskin. I think he'd done enough in the 30-odd minutes he was on the park to warrant a start, but I think that the other 9 or 10 positions probably pick themselves just through lack of options. Leon King, I think, will probably come in. We'll get no other centre-halves apart from Ben Davies, who, let's face it, was a man missing only 2-3 weeks ago, and now he seems to be playing big games, and it probably looks as though he might even play the cup final as well, the way things are going at the minute. So I don't think there'll be massive changes. I think Leon King's probably the main one out of the youth team that we'll maybe see come in, but I think the rest of it probably picks itself just through lack of options at the minute.
Yeah, I think so. I guess his hands are tied. His injuries have built up, and I sometimes wonder how legitimate some of these injuries are. I know that's for conspiracy theorists, but it's a lot. It's a lot of injuries, and they come at strange times as well. And I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Nicky, if you dare give me a team in your scoreline and first goal scorer, and try and keep your enthusiasm to a low, because I know it's an exciting one tomorrow night.
I don't think it'll be a classic, mate, but I think team Jack Butland, I think Tav will be right back. I think King and Davies will be centre half. I'd bring Yilmaz in. I know, but I don't think Barisic is on that lengthy list of injuries. But again, we need Yilmaz for this final, right? We need to get 150, 180 minutes into his legs. Yilmaz is over the next 2 games to make sure he's ready for his cup final, because again, the difference he makes coming into that park. Bona Barisic, it's a lump up the park, or he goes back to centre half every single time. Yilmaz at least progresses, gets up the park. So I'd like to see Yilmaz in. I think Raskin and Diomande, I'd like to see as the 2. I think Sterling maybe would have come in there as one of those positions, but obviously with him being injured. Cantwell is probably your 10. Lawrence, I think, again, is injured. Don't know what the hell's happened to him. McCausland, I think, is probably your right side. Naisima, Nematondo. Maybe there's an argument for Scott Wright, potentially, but I think McCausland, I think Silva will play on the left, to Ali's point, and I think it'll be Dessers up top as well. Score, I think it'll be 2-0. As I say, I don't think it'll be a classic. I think Big Dessers will score again. I think he'll get both of them, to be honest with you, which will put make a bit of a mockery of this top goal scorer, because I think if he gets a double tomorrow, he goes either one or joint with Tav, who's already been given the top goal scorer award. But hey-ho, 2-0, Dessers double, I think, tomorrow.
Like it. My team would be, yes, very similar. I want to see Kieran Dowell, boys. I've not written him off. I know a lot of people laugh at me when I say that. I don't. I think Dowell has struggled with injuries. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see a wee bit more of him. Whether he's good enough or fit enough, whatever, but I think he deserves a chance. If he's fit, I'd give him minutes tomorrow night. Where you play him, I don't know, because I would play Raskin and Diamande as well. I'd play McCausland on the right. My number 10, who would that be? Jeez, it's a struggle. You'd play Scott Wright on the right, wouldn't you? I don't know. No, I'm struggling to pick a 10, boys. I'll just play 10 men tomorrow night. There you go. I'm going to give Dundee a chance. I'll play 10 men, and I'll go 2-0 Rangers. And I'll go James Tavernier penalty. There you go. If you believe me, you'll believe anything. Mr. Pearson, over to you.
Same team as Nicky. That's what I had, to be honest. Because there's not much choice, really, if you're looking at it in terms of who you can bring. Kieran Dowell, he might come in. I don't know. I think, well, it'll be interesting to see if Cantwell starts or not, but I think he has to start because there's nobody really else there, to be honest. So I'm the same as Nicky. And I think the pressure's off for Rangers now. So they'll probably end up winning convincingly because the pressure's off in this game. It's needlessly. That's just the way they are, though, Ryan. That's the way they are. So they'll probably win 3-0 Rangers. Dessers will get a brace. Honestly, they probably will because there's no pressure on them.
Oh, dear. And we'll cut into that goal difference then.
Aye.
Oh, boys, right. At least with a laugh at the end of that. At least with a laugh at the end of that was a tough one. But you've got to do it. You've got to wear your heart on your sleeve. That's the way we've seen the game. We'll get in the chat for being negative, but do you know what? That's the way it is. Rangers are not great at the moment, but we'll come back as always. At some point, I keep telling my sons at some point they will be back. Boys, thank you very much. Thank you everybody in the chat for getting involved. Like, share and subscribe as always. We'll be back on Friday. Mr. Pearson, I will say thank you to you, and I hope that you're having a pleasant evening, and plenty of nice movies on that pay-per-view, I heard.
I'll wait to get my dinner after this, Ryan. I'll wait down to McDonald's. That's my treat for this. I wait for the McDonald's. So, aye, a pleasure as always talking about Rangers. I'm looking forward to the summer though, Ryan. I can see it in the distance. I'm looking forward to the summer, and we can kind of take a break from it, because it's hard sometimes coming on here doing all these. You don't want to be negative all the time, man. We don't want to be negative, but we'll just say what we see. We're honest. That's what I like to think people watch us and they like us, because we're honest. But yes, I can't wait for tomorrow night and another post-match. So yes, I'll be back tomorrow with a post-match for you all.
I'll be watching. I cannot wait for it. That's me looking forward to tomorrow night. I'm not interested in the game. Just looking for your post-match analysis. I cannot wait. Strap yourselves in, people. And Nicky Irvin, thank you very much, mate, and thanks for giving us your time. And you're far too good for this podcast at the moment. You're bringing the standard up.
Pleasure is mine, mate. I mean, I took the words out of my mouth, right? We'd all rather be on here singing praises of Rangers players and how good we are and how good our players are, but we try to be honest, don't we? Things are not rosy at the minute. We are not as good as them at the minute. Obviously, we have aspirations to get back there and be number one again, but we're just seeing it as it is at the minute, unfortunately. But no, pleasure to be on, mate. And let's see. We'll probably see a good performance to Ali's point tomorrow night.
Aye, probably. Guys, thank you very much once again. Sorry for running over. Thank you for your continued support with the podcast. Things aren't up to the same level as they usually are with Mr. Carney been out, but they will be. Don't worry about that. We'll do our best to bring you as much content as we can. I'll be back tomorrow night with a post-match. We are Club at 22.